walls as you can between you and the outside. That's going to be the best place for you to be right now with this potential tornado. And this is a Doppler indicated tornado, but this is our early warning. So some of the other streets that are on here, this is Sanders Ferry, and then there's Saunderville Road, Neely's Bend Road, and right there is the Hermitage. So you get an idea of where this is, and what makes this notching is that wind blowing in with that circulation, and that's the reason this tornado warning has been issued right now with the storm moving toward the east at this point. And Dan is circling it, and here comes that live sweep across. So this is shifted a little bit to the east a bit. This is Lakewood right now with our live image showing you exactly what's happening now. And Old Hickory Lake, anybody who is very near that lake at this point, the storm's going to be sweeping across your area. Dan pulling out just a little bit to give us a bit more perspective there. So it's very near the lake. Now let's go on and take a look, if we can, also Dan, here in just a second, with the winds that are associated with this, and see if we can find what we normally look for, which is winds going toward the radar site and away from the radar site in a very small area. And we can see we're starting to move over the National Weather Service's radar right now, so it makes it a little more difficult to see, but we anticipate that the circulation is right through here, and I can see a little bit of that.
The National Weather Service in Nashville has issued a tornado warning for east central Davidson County in Middle Tennessee, southern Sumner County in Middle Tennessee, southwestern Trousdale County in Middle Tennessee, northern Wilson County in Middle Tennessee until 5:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time. At 4:57 p.m. Central Daylight Time, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Old Hickory and moving east at 50 miles per hour. Hazard: tornado and quarter-size hail. Source: radar indicated rotation. Impact: flying debris will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed. Damage to roofs, windows, and vehicles will occur. Tree damage is likely. This dangerous storm will be near Mount Juliet around 5:05 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Belinda City around 5:10 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Lebanon around 5:20 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Other locations in the warning include Dickerson Chapel Recreation Area and Tucker's Crossroads. Take cover now. Move to an interior room on the lowest floor of a sturdy building. Avoid windows. If in a mobile home, a vehicle, or outdoors, move to the closest substantial shelter and protect yourself from flying debris.
County. It stretches all the way back toward Bellevue. Very heavy downpours, gusty winds, perhaps, especially we have the deepest reds, the pink. We're having some penny-sized hail. We actually had some severe hail earlier today north of us in Robertson County. Another very big storm is back to the west in Dixon County. If you're watching from White Bluff, perhaps you're watching from Pegram, that storm's going to move in from the west, so just leaving Dixon, pushing toward Bellevue, Brentwood, Fairview. So Fairview, you'll get it very shortly. And then south and west of there, more developing thunderstorms. We've got a severe thunderstorm warning for this cell in through here. So around Linden and Perry County, pushing toward Hickman County. So just beware in Hickman County, Centerville. You're in that severe thunderstorm warning, and parts of Lewis County is as well, just north of Hohenwald. So essentially Hohenwald and points north. Let's go in for a tighter view of the storm we're most concerned about, and it's moving through easternmost Davidson County, now working into Wilson County. We've got a tornado warning in effect for this if you're just joining us. And so we're talking about this area between Hendersonville and Hermitage. So right in through here, it's actually a cell. Oh, we just took a pretty good strike to our transmitting tower out back, and that's why things flickered for a moment. Pretty good cell that extends farther north and east, almost over toward Hunters Point. And so we're looking at the area of the little indentation around Hermitage, getting a tighter view around Green Lawn, Green Hill, just west of Mount Juliet, for potential circulation reaching the ground. Very heavy rain is falling. We've got some hail as well. And in fact, Paul's got a pretty good three-dimensional perspective on that on 3D storm scan. Paul?
Yeah, if we can take a look at Channel 4's 3D storm scan, we're looking at the same portion of the radar view. We'll give the control room time to switch over there, and I'm going to tilt the view up. So there's that notch that we saw there. Now we're going to swivel around and kind of look into it from a different perspective and zoom in. There's that little lowering there towards the bottom of your screen. I've got the computer mouse arrow over it. That indicates some of the air flowing out the the flank of this thunderstorm and causing that rotation, that little indentation in the reflection from the radar beam. And again, we're almost directly on top of the National Weather Service's radar site. Fortunately, our radar is quite a bit farther away, and now a new tornado warning has actually just been issued just to the east of our neck of the woods here in West Nashville.
Absolutely so. In fact, we tighten up the view on Forward Live Doppler as we head back to that. And Lisa, I'll let you take it if you head back to the wall, and we'll just get a tight view of this not far from our Channel 4 studios, as Paul mentioned, around Belle Meade right now.
All right, so a brand new tornado warning being issued, and we're watching these cells very intently and looking for any kind of indication that we may be seeing some circulation taking place. And that's what it looks like that we're seeing right in through here, where we've got a little bit of a notching right in this general vicinity. So this is right now at the Mall at Green Hills. This is Belle Meade here. This is West Meade, and this over around Percy Warner Park. So this would be the general area where we think this perhaps second tornado could be developing at this point. You can see the line stretches all the way back. We want to let you know that if you're over here in Perry County, you are under a severe thunderstorm warning. So that's what you're dealing with right now. Meanwhile, we have two separate possible tornadoes that are developing here in the Davidson County area, and one of those perhaps right in through here. So let's dive down once again into this portion of the storm, see if we can get a storm track for you, give you an idea of where this is going to be headed. It's kind of tricky here because you're already experiencing some of the heavier downpours, but we think it's right here, this part of the storm, where we potentially could have another rotation that is taking place. So if we put that into time, advancing it forward, it'll be moving over to around Sylvan Park with just a minute. So let's skip on down this list a little bit, Dan, around to Livingston, there we go, and Hume Fogg around 5:11, and around Overton High at 5:11, and around LP Field at 5:12. So if you're close to these areas, this is the path that this potential tornado will be taking. Donaldson around 5:22, and over to Clover Hill at 5:23. So anyone in these locations, you are under a tornado warning. Want you to make sure that you're headed to your safe place right now, as the storm is getting very close to you, continuing to move over this way. Back to you guys.
Lisa, we have to make a correction. That in fact is actually just a severe thunderstorm warning. Not to downplay a severe thunderstorm warning, but this one in through here, it's difficult to tell from the color scheme we've got going on here. This is a blue outlined area. So this is a severe thunderstorm warning that you've been talking about for a couple of moments. And so this in through here, where we've been tracking around Mount Juliet, is the only standing tornado warning we have in effect right now. So just wanted to clear that up.
All right. Thank you very much for definitely kind of separating those two, because it is a lot to look at when we're looking at on our radars right through here. So we are going to continue to monitor both those storms, as we are definitely seeing some very strong winds indicated with both. And here's around Mount Juliet. This is over to around Horn Springs, where this storm will continue to advance towards the east and make its way towards Hunter Point and over to around Lebanon as well. And there's our latest updated image right now. So the storm is moving right along Highway 70 at this point. So this is Green Hill, this is Mount Juliet. So continuing to advance right in this general direction. This is where you are under a tornado warning right now. So I want to make sure that you're taking cover at this point around Cooks Road, and then also seeing around Bender's Ferry, where we do have the potential that storm will move right across your general location too. And then another spot, this is East Division Street. So right in this general area, this is where we could be seeing that storm dropping a tornado as the circulation continues as it's moving towards the east right now. Let's pull out a little bit because we want folks to get their bearings once again. That's where the tornado warning is issued right through here. And then, as we just corrected a second ago, this is a severe thunderstorm warning that's a little bit farther back towards the west. And I think what's happening is we've got two different warnings kind of overlapping here, so it's a little more difficult to distinguish this. This is also a severe thunderstorm warning that you see back here that includes parts of Centerville and back over into Perry County as well. And other storms that had developed, let's go on and pull out even a little bit wider view, as we know a lot of folks are watching in different locations. You've still got some of the heavier rain, a lot of lightning up here to the north. You are not under a warning at this time. And then farther down to the south, we are not looking at a warning in effect for those areas either. But it's right through here we continue to have our tornado warning that remains in effect for sections of Davidson County with the circulation that we've detected on our radar here. So if we can take a closer look at maybe some of the roads where we may be seeing some of this circulation, and even we'll check the winds here in just a few moments as well. So folks that are around Mount Juliet, this is where we've got a little bit of what we call a twist in the showing up here and here also. So this is right along Highway 70. That's one big marker for you. And then we're also looking right in through here. And we've got Highway 109 that's coming across there. So if you're in that intersection of 70 and 109, that's where this storm is going to be coming across. So that's where we want you to make sure that you're taking your precautions when we mention that there is a tornado warning in effect. So that means head to your lowest level of your home. And in the center of the building, we're talking about a closet, a bathroom, any of those locations would be best. If you've got a basement, even better, just to make sure that you are making yourself as safe as possible with this potential tornado coming through. Dan?
Okay, Lisa, we've gotten a couple of reports as the sweep comes across at 5:06 p.m., so 6 minutes ago. A funnel was spotted around Hermitage with that cell that's prompted the tornado warning, and then a 68-mile-per-hour wind gust was measured just north and east of the National Weather Service office at the end of Saunders Ferry Road. So Saundersville Ferry Road, I think it's yeah, it says. So almost 70-mile-an-hour winds, and actually a funnel cloud reported with this cell. And it still looks like it has pretty good definition in through here. So here's just the dimensions of it. You can see this is where the inflow comes in, and then this is the outer part of the thunderstorm. So essentially, air is entrained to the thunderstorm, and through here it starts to circulate. So if we have a tornado, it would develop right around here. And then this is all heavy rain and hail up and through here that gets carried downwind by very strong winds in the upper atmosphere in that jet stream. So it's that cell right now dominating a good chunk of western Wilson County that we're focused in on, and it's on its way toward Horn Springs, moving from Mount Juliet. Now, notice farther south and west still some very heavy downpours and some very gusty wind. The wind howled through our transmitting tower for probably 3 minutes as it moved through West Nashville. This just to let you know, this doesn't mean there's nothing happening in through here. We're just getting some data streaking, if you will, but once the radar sweeps across, we'll have a complete picture again. What I'm going to do is just for the moment change sources to the Weather Service radar. Again, we've got our own live radar here at Channel 4. We call it 4-1 Live Doppler. We lean on that a whole lot, especially during events like this, but we have that flexibility to change sources to the National Weather Service radar. So you can see there's a little data void. This is where that radar is, and so that's essentially where that thunderstorm is that could be producing a tornado. So I remind you folks, if you're watching in Mount Juliet, surrounding Mount Juliet, you need to be in your safe spot. That's always going to be the best place, is beneath ground. So if you've got a basement or a storm shelter, we urge you to go there now if you're not there already. If you don't have one of those, the lowest level of your house, indoors and away from windows. So put as many walls as you can between you and the outside. Essentially protect yourself with as many walls between you and the storm as it slides on through. It's very fast moving. These are moving to the east at about 40 to 50, and so they're not going to last a tremendous amount of time, but as they move on through, they'll make a lot of noise, and we will give you the all clear when we can. In fact, back toward the Hermitage, you're in good shape. If you're in your safe spot, you can come on out. Anywhere in Davidson County, you don't need to be in your safe spot now. You do need to be indoors and away from windows just because it's stormy. But Hermitage, the Hermitage back toward Old Hickory, you've got the all clear. Green Lawn, in just a moment or two, the storm is mainly east of you, so if the rain is turned off in your area in Green Lawn, or if it just sounds like it's a lot lighter, you've got the all clear, but certainly not in Mount Juliet. Beckwith, you need to be hunkered down. It's right over you. It's moving over Horn Springs in the next moment or two, and it's up toward LaGuardia as well. So that's with that big thunderstorm right now rolling through northwesternmost Wilson County at this time. Lisa?
All right, so wow, a lot going on, and this front is moving very quickly across the mid-state. A lot of folks are on the road making their way home right now, and so terrible timing, but we do have the severe thunderstorm warning that is still in effect across a good deal of Davidson County. You can see the blue shaded area making it a little more evident of who's under the severe thunderstorm warning. So it's right in through here, just there, just south of the city, where we've got some heavy downpours right now. Also, it sounded as though we were even hearing some hail on our rooftop here, but gusty winds with this and a lot of lightning as well. Here's one of the storm reports coming in, and this one is just north of Mount Juliet, where we had 68-mile-per-hour wind gusts reported with that storm, 5 miles northeast of the National Weather Service office, which is located over on Old Hickory Lake, very near Saundersville Ferry Road. So that just gives you an indication that these are very high winds. 60-plus mile-per-hour wind is enough to do quite a bit of damage. That's the threshold for a severe thunderstorm warning. So very windy conditions with these storms as they're moving across right now. You still remain under a tornado warning right in through here for eastern sections of Davidson County and moving into Wilson County. And this looks like to be the most suspicious part of this storm. Reason we would say that is because it has that notch where you've got the winds that are blowing in. So that's where the radar is picking up on what perhaps could be some rotation taking place with that storm, potentially producing a tornado that could be touching the ground right now. Folks that are over in Lebanon, if you're between Hunters Point and Lebanon, want to make sure that you're taking precautions here for the possibility that a tornado could be moving into your area, because that's really in the beeline where exactly that would be. And can we identify some of the roads here, particularly right, some of our major thoroughfares, so we can give folks a new reference point? And this is Hunters Point Pike right through there, and this is I-40. So this storm looks to be tracking north of I-40, but anyone that's going to be on the interstate right now in this general vicinity, say from pulling out of Nashville, driving out of Nashville down from Mount Juliet straight on over to around Lebanon, south of those locations, you're going to be running into some very heavy rainfall. So if you have a loved one that's on the road right now, they're probably experiencing this. But it looks as though if we've got any twisting with this storm, it is a little bit farther off to the north. And that means if you are in one of these locations that we're talking about right in through here, want to make sure that you are hunkered down in the safe place between Horn Springs and the Coles Ferry Pike area. This is the most likely spot where this potential tornado is located right now. So we don't want you to wait to look outside or see anything. We want you to go on and head into that safe location. If you've got a storm shelter, terrific. If you don't, a basement or an interior room like a bathroom, like a closet, it's always the best place to be. Now, folks who are in Nashville proper, as far as looking at a tornado, the tornado potential has passed you by. If you're in Hendersonville, it has passed you by. In Inglewood's passed you by. But we are still looking at a very strong thunderstorm right through here, and we're going to keep a close eye on this. It's still moving through the southern part of the county right now. It's right between Nashville and Brentwood. So I know you've got quite a lightning show out here, very heavy rain, but you are under a severe thunderstorm warning right now. But remember, those strong straight line winds associated with a thunderstorm can be just as damaging oftentimes as a weak tornado. So let's be very cautious through here as well. Stay away from windows if you're at home. And then, of course, a little farther to the east is where the tornado watch is or warning is in effect. Now, up through Burkesville, we're looking at quite the line of storms that's also producing some pretty vivid lightning through here, and also that rain is coming down very heavily for you too. Gusty winds associated with the storm too. Back down to Lafayette, where things are also pretty nasty right now. And then on the other side of that, over to around Hartsville, we also have some very heavy rain that is moving into your area right now. Kind of watching the weather for you closely as this whole complex is moving your way. Over to around Dixon Springs, and remember, a heads up to you if you're in Carthage, this is going to be moving into your area too. But right now, our biggest concern is where we have this tornado warning that is in effect right in through here. That's the most likely spot where we could have perhaps a tornado that has developed. Do want to let folks know down here, just following that line down all ahead of this front, that around Centerville and Hohenwald, you are under a severe thunderstorm warning right now. So gusty winds, heavy downpours, a lot of lightning is evident in this storm. It's sweeping to the east and coming closer to folks in Centerville and also around Williamsport. And as it continues to move towards the east-northeast, it's going to be moving closer to you. If you are right here around, let's say, the Lovetown area, it'll be to you at 529, Cartersville at 530, around Fikes Mill at 531, over to Johnson's Mill at 531, and Poplar Creek around 5:32. So just heads up, you've got some really high winds that will be moving into your area. That is a severe thunderstorm warning for you. Well, let's head back down and get the latest on what's going on with the storm that we see here that is now moving out of Davidson County into Wilson County right now. And this is the one where there is a tornado warning that is in effect, and that is until 5:30, right guys? 5:30 is when that warning expires. So we've got about 10 more minutes or so as this storm moves towards the east-northeast and gets closer to you. If you are in Lebanon, if you are in Hunters Point, if you are in Bellwood, heads up, the storm will be getting into your area very soon as well. Dan?
Okay, Lisa, so absolutely right around Horn Springs, that's where we're focused in on. Now you can see the Weather Service continues to, looks like, extend the outer limits of this tornado warning, which is smart. They're just pushing it downstream. So right in through here, it appears to me is the outer extent of it just to the east of Lebanon. So in Lebanon, you need to be in your safe spot right now. You're in that warned area for this potentially tornado-producing thunderstorm. The most dangerous part of the storm is going to pass right in your neck of the woods. So at the junction of a whole bunch of roads in through here, of course, I-40 moving north to south here, we've got Highway 231. So this is I-40 pushing east back into toward the Cumberland Plateau and westbound into Davidson County. And then this is Highway 70. Paul, do you have something?
I do want to jump in real quick with reports from social media of some localized flooding around 12th and Linden, a lot of tree limbs down across the area as well. So just want to emphasize that travel's not going to be a good idea around Metro Nashville, even as that heavier storm you're tracking continues moving off to the east. Okay, very good, thank you. Paul's got his eyes on social media. Folks, if you've got a smartphone, and a whole bunch of you do out there, we encourage you to follow the WSMV weather team, follow the WSMV station itself. Also follow us on Twitter. Paul Hagan goes crazy with the tweets, and so that's just a great source of information as we have these big storms coming on through. So check us out on social media. Lisa.
All right, so a lot going on with our front sweeping towards the east right now, and this line is all out ahead of the front that will be bringing some cooler air into the area. This is really wreaking havoc on traffic as we thought it might. This is over at Fessler's Lane that you see there in the corner of the screen, 40 at Fessler's Lane, and there's some heavy rain moving into that area right now. So this is just awful traveling on 40 as you're headed out of Nashville, and even from Nashville down 24 towards Antioch. We're also looking at some really treacherous traveling here. So anybody who may be southeast bound there coming towards Smyrna is going to have to deal with a lot of heavy traffic or heavy rain, and probably is influencing the traffic there too. And then we've got our severe thunderstorm warning remaining in effect here, includes parts of Williamson County, primarily into Davidson County right now as this moving on towards the south. Let's pull out a little bit, and we want to go back over that tornado warning that still remains in effect for a little while longer right through here, and you can see we've got the area boxed off that remains under that warning, and it's not quite as descriptive as it was a little bit earlier, but we are still seeing some areas where we could see a little bit of rotation taking place. So if you're in Mount Juliet, you're okay. The storm has moved by you, so no issues there. But if you're in Lebanon, you're still sort of in this area where you could still experience the potential for a tornado as this moves on towards the east right now. So right around the airport areas you see there, the Lebanon airport, you've already had one wave of heavier rain come through. Now you've got another that will be moving in, and that will produce with it some very high winds, some very heavy downpours too. This is 231. And then, of course, we see right through here, this is all north of 40. We're also looking at the Carthage Highway. Very heavy rain. It looks as though that's downtown that we've got our camera on right now. So downtown where our Mobile 4 is moving through, and you are still getting some heavy rains and very gusty winds right now in Nashville. And then, of course, just to the east of Nashville, Dan's got this into motion, and you can see that eastward movement of this storm as it advances along I-40, and really it's just paralleling the interstate right now, moving into Lebanon. So with folks trying to get home on this Good Friday, we are definitely experiencing some terrible travel conditions. This is the latest updated image, brought this heavy rain now moving right into the Lebanon area. There's your recap reminder that you do remain under a tornado warning if you are in Lebanon. Folks in Sumner County, at least the southern part of that county, Trousdale County, as well as the easternmost part of Davidson County, which really you're on the back side of this whole storm storm right now as it continues to move towards the east, and you can see what I mean here of this part of the storm. However, we're still dealing with the heavy rain that we see right here under a severe thunderstorm warning for you on this part of the storm, and these H's represent when we have had reports of hail, and this storm does have a history of producing some hail, so want to keep that in mind as well. If you've got a vehicle and you're out ahead of this storm, if you're in Smyrna, if you're in Las Casas, in those locations, in Murfreesboro, you might want to go on and pull the car into the garage if you do have one, because we do have the potential for hail. And then Hendersonville, this is our live camera or a recording of some of the high winds that are blowing right now and just blowing that rain into sheets across the area. So it's really difficult. If the storm has not made it to you yet, let's say if you're a little bit farther off to the east of the storm and it hasn't rained for you, you might want to go on and pull in any patio furniture, any lawn furniture they have out, any garbage cans, anything like that, because the winds are going to be very high as this whole system passes by you. There's some of the reports of hail that we've had. Inch-size hail, that's quarter-size hail. That's along I-24 at Briley Parkway. And an inch-size hail is what's used as a threshold for a severe thunderstorm warning. Nickel-size hail right here at Centennial Park. And the reason that is used is because that's big enough to do a little bit of damage. Dime-size hail over in Corner or Brook Hollow in Davidson over in West Mead. So some hail reports there as well. And we're also showing you some of the wind reports. We've got some reports of trees down. That's 2 trees that were down southeast of Hendersonville. That's one report that we see right up here. So you saw the rain just blowing sideways. That just shows you how high it is blowing, enough to take that rain sideways and also enough to bring down some trees too. So this is the line right through here. This is our front that's stretching from across the Tennessee River southeastward. And anybody back behind this, if you're in Waverly, if you're in Paris, over in Murray, if you're in Clarksville, if you're in Springfield, in Franklin, Kentucky, Hopkinsville, over to any spots right in through here, over into Ashland City, the storm has passed you by. So you are out of the woods. You may see a little bit of rain, some gusty winds, but the storm has passed you by that could be producing the damaging winds and the flooding rain and any possibility of tornadoes. So it's by you now. However, if you're in Columbia, Murfreesboro, over to Cookeville, the main part of the storm has not reached you as of yet. Now it is 5:28 here in our Channel 4 studios, so our warning for tornadoes is about to expire. We may see another one issued for perhaps a tornado or for severe thunderstorm warning, so we'll watch that closely. This batch of storms too into Franklin right now and is crossing the interstate there at I-65, moving towards the east. So there's a lot of rain associated with that. We've got quite a lightning show with this. Also some very gusty winds too as this part of the storm advances towards the east. And we're looking at the amount of rain. And so if this was to sit over your area and rain consistently, it would produce 3 3/4 of an inch of rainfall, and that would definitely be enough to cause some flooding problems there. All this continues to move towards the east right now, so we're talking about very heavy downpours as this continues to advance towards the east. And right on over to around, let's say Antioch, you're getting the heavy rains right now, and Dan is highlighting this severe thunderstorm warning that is just letting you know if you're over in Murfreesboro and Smyrna and Las Casas that this storm is headed to you, and we're talking about some very high winds and also those heavy downpours and the potential for that hail as well. Our tornado warning is about to expire there across portions of Wilson County, which doesn't mean we're totally out of the woods yet, because we're going to continue to watch this for the potential of more strong storms developing across the area. And you can see exactly where this next one is headed over the Cool Springs area. And